We talked about the Rosalia album a month ago. Today we're going to be talking about Bad Bunny and his new album, Un Verano Sin Ti. Dave, Bad Bunny is the biggest artist on Spotify the last 2 years, 17.4 billion streams.
Mhm.
Number 24 right now, currently on Spotify in terms of monthly listeners. But Dave, did Un Verano Sin Ti prove to you why but Big Bad Bunny is this big?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I'm not sure if it proves anything that we didn't already know about Bad Bunny. I think just generally sonically, this is kind of like a lighter, smoother listen per Bad Bunny's previous catalog. It's less of like the hard hitting like Latin trap that he like really busted out onto the scene with, and kind of more of a smattering of Spanish music's Latin genres, including still some reggaeton, of course. But I mean, yeah, he's already kind of completely established as an absolute global superstar, and we have new data for this, of course, because this album, Un Verano Sin Ti, is number two for first day album debuts on global Spotify with 148.8 million, just a little less than 10 million behind Drake's Certified Lover Boy for number one. Obviously, not a lot of passion for Drake's last record. I think there's going to be a lot more love for Bunnies. And like you said, number one artist on global Spotify the past 2 years, including last year when he didn't release any new music, which is super impressive. But he's also been making a lot of inroads in the United States, where that his third release of 2020, El Ultimo Tour del Mundo, that was the first number one album in the United States that was completely in Spanish. Like, he's already been making huge strides, and now he has the highest grossing tour of the year currently ongoing, and he's going to extend that into a stadium tour. So there seems like there's really nothing the dude can achieve at this time. He's about to be a Sony superhero in their Marvel verse, for crying out loud. He's doing everything. So I don't know if like when Verano CNT changes anyone's opinion on that. I feel like it's just kind of more Bunny for people that like him, and there's a lot of people that like him.
I think that that's a really good point. As you just look at his success so far, and then you kind of turn into this album. I don't know if there's anything on here that is going to necessarily like grab new fans or like expand his commercial success. He's doing a lot on this album. It's 23 tracks, a lot of different sounds, but it's really just impressive all the way through. I don't know if every song hit for me, but it was almost like every other track I was perking up and really catching on. And obviously, I think we should caveat that we are not fluent Spanish speakers. I think we
Mm.
both can understand like very minimal Spanish. So we don't know a lot of what's being said on the album, but in terms of how it sounds, what he's going for, at least in terms of the conceptualization of the sound on the album, I think we can talk about it. And it's pretty impressive. I mean, he's jumping all over here, and it's really like kind of moving in and out of different sounds all throughout the 23 tracks. I do wish it was a little bit shorter, just selfishly, but I mean, give the people what they want, Bad Bunny, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, he at least couches this as being like a two-sided album versus just a super
Sure.
long album. So I guess like conceptually, that's a little more palatable, even though it's not like Spotify lets you know when the second side starts or anything. You'd have to look that up yourself. No, nevertheless, like you said, a lot of different sounds on here. A lot of genres I'm not like super privy to, right? You have like Dominican dembo music on here. I don't know a lot about that, obviously, but he did seem to split some of his time recording this between Puerto Rico and the DR. Obviously, Puerto Rico is home. Um, for me, I think the more I guess the dembo stuff sounds pretty good to me too, but also like the more traditional like reggaeton stuff, just because it's like super up tempo and he just is really comfortable on those kind of beats. I really like those songs, of which there's plenty on this. Um, I think the slower stuff, I'm less interested in it, but I think it's all pretty forgivable because he's giving you so much of this at once, and it's not all the same thing that you can kind of just take what you want out of this. And I'm sure that's exactly what's going to happen. Like
Oh yeah.
I mean, right now, like the day after it's come out, it's going to have, it's like 18 of the 20 top songs on global Spotify is this. That will not obviously last, but several of these songs will last, and they will be the biggest songs of the year, more likely than not. So fans are just going to take what they want from this.
Yeah, and I think to that point, um, you I don't think he does anything on here necessarily like poorly. Like even those songs you're talking about, I agree. I think the more toned down songs weren't as interesting to me, and that probably is also because going back to what we said, we don't know what's being said, so we're not connecting with the lyrics as much on those toned down songs. So the upbeat things are probably more likely going to catch us. But um, when you think about what really works on this album, in terms of our our personal taste, I think a couple of the early songs like Después de la Playa and Titi Mi Pregunto really stood out to me as tracks that just absolutely caught me. I thought were really interesting, and just it feels like him just kind of like stunting in a way,
Mhm.
and it just feels like okay, I get why this guy is just like a rocket ship that has no end in sight to where his career could go. Especially like Moscow Mule is a okay opener. I
Yeah,
didn't
classic reggaeton song, really.
exactly, but then you get into Después de la Player, and it just is like I don't know. It just really feels like he's just like leaning right into these Latin roots, really
Yeah.
going for that like toned up Latin sound, and it just fits so perfectly. It brings a smile to your face. Even just talking about it, I get a smile come into my face. And
Mm.
then 2 songs later, you get Titi, and man, that track, that beat switch up halfway through is just so cool and so inventive, and you're like, okay, so this guy has so many multitudes to him and to his style. It's really really impressive.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Después de la Playa, that's more of like a mambo song, and then
Yeah.
Titi Me Pregunto, that's one of those demo tracks, and like right away, within the first four tracks, you have basically like three different genres of
Right.
Latin music, and it just shows how capable, not just capable, but like really talented he is. Um, I think later on down the track list, what was it? El Apagón really stood out to me just because it almost has like EDM, like a electronic production, which
Yeah.
to that point sounded very foreign on the rest of the album. But again, cool that he can find a way to squeeze that in and it still kind of sounds like one of his songs. It's not like out of left field or anything. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, like I feel like every few songs though, I'm always like, yes, more reggaeton. This is pretty good. Like
Mm.
Efecro is another good one for that. Yeah, I mean, I think like the as the title suggests, Un Verano sin ti, which is translates to a summer with you, it is lighter per his standards. It's definitely not like on the production side of things. It's not as trappy as the first album or the second album, but there's still a lot of range on it, which is really cool. And I'm just very interested in his celebrity just because he's really tackling the English speaking world right now, having already established himself on the global stage. So I'm just really interested to see exactly how high these heights will be that he achieves.
Yeah, and thinking about his his success so far and just who he is as an artist, I mean, it feels like the comparative to in terms of English speaking artists is probably Drake, right? I mean, uh, I don't know if he's exactly at Drake's height, but definitely on that trajectory. And the way he's jumping around within genre, but kind of still holding that rapping hip hop soul in the middle of his songs. I think it sounds like
Right.
the same lane to me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, those comparisons started pretty early on, and Drake famously featured on the debut album from 2018.
Right.
Um,
Mia.
yeah, I think another notable thing with Bunny too is just he's very himself with his fashion, with his
Hmm.
his mannerisms, his performance, his color of his hair, whatever it might be. He is not afraid to express himself and also speak on social issues, broadly, but also specifically from his home. So I think he's a very important star in that regard too. He doesn't take the easy way out with things. Um, yeah, so very very exciting. I think like I said, I just want to see like what's next. Like he's going to be in Bullet Train, the Brad Pitt movie from David Leitch coming out this summer. Like I can't wait to see him do his martial arts film
Yeah.
debut. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, no, he's it's hard not to like him. Definitely check out this album, on Verano Senti, and check out our Nostalgia Best of 2022 Spotify playlist. We'll be putting a song from Bad Bunny on there.